The National Environment Management Authority (NEMA) is a government regulatory body formed by an Act of Parliament to supervise and coordinate all environmental matters within the country. It is also the principal agency that implements environmental policies on behalf of the government. Within the devolved system of government, NEMA is operating both at national and county level, being mindful that some environmental management functions have been devolved, for example, noise and waste management. Despite the latter, environmental standards remain the same throughout the country and are still a national function. The Environmental Management and Coordination Water Quality Regulations 2006 Legal Notice number 121 indicates how effluent discharge should be handled. The objective of the regulations is to prohibit discharge of effluent into the environment contrary to the established standards. The regulations further provides guidelines and standards for the discharge of poisons, toxins, noxious radioactive waste, or other pollutants into the environment in line with the third schedule of the regulations. No person shall discharge any effluent from sewage treatment works, industry, or other point sources into the environment without a valid effluent discharge license issued by the National Environment Management Authority (NEMA). So what is the effluent discharge license? Many facilities lack this important license either due to ignorance or not knowing how to go about it. An EDL is issued by the National Environment Management Authority (NEMA) after submission of your facility's effluent sample test results.
Our main work, being in the Department of Compliance and Enforcement, is to ensure compliance with environmental regulations with the guidelines as prescribed.
First of all, water effluent sample tests are supposed to be conducted on quarterly basis. This measure is important to ensure prevention and protection of lakes, rivers, streams, springs, wells, and other sources of water from pollution. Consequently, these tests are conducted to ensure conformity with the standards set by the regulations. This is what you must know as you seek to comply. The application fees for the effluent discharge license is 5,000 Kenya shillings payable to the NEMA revenue account. Then go on to submit an application for the license. You will also need to factor in an annual discharge fee depending on what facility you run. Could be a scheduled discharge cost per year, sewerage provider and institution, say a university, or any other establishment that does not fall under the previous three. Further, you ought to consider other requirements as lined up by the National Environment Management Authority. Let us now look at what some entities are doing to stay up to date with current regulations. Without a sewerage connection, Maseno University has been undergoing a problem of liquid waste management from thousands of its students every year. The university has been draining its wastewater into the nearby river for years, something that fell them into the wrong arm of the law.
We arrested quite a number of people who are not complying with the regulations and took them to court. But I'm glad to report that a number of those facilities have since improved, and what is getting discharged into the environment today meets the standards as set by the water quality regulations of 2006.
With this in mind, the university administration, led by its Vice Chancellor Professor Julius Nyabudi, began a compliance journey with NEMA. Within months, the university has built 3 massive water ponds to manage its waste.
These lagoons are in sequence. First lagoon receives raw effluent. When it is full, they discharge the second lagoon and then the final third lagoon. We measure the amount of effluent that go into the first lagoon, and we also measure the amount of effluent leaving the final lagoon in order to be sure that we are not dealing with a system that is flowing too rapidly. We also ensure that our entire piping system leading to the lagoons do not have any leakages. where we have done this in constant consultation with NEMA and also with support from Kisumu County Public Works Department, and also to some extent from Lake Victoria South Water and Treatment water Company.
Let's cross over to West Kenya Sugar Company's leachate treatment facility for more insights. West Kenya Sugar Company operates one of the best models in water treatment in sugar sector, known as leachate treatment plant. The plant is able to treat leachate and separates it from bagasse, making it possible to release the treatment water into the environment suitable for human consumption.
It was not something that came to our attention, but over time through the audits and working through the local NEMA team, Kakamega team, they were able to identify that, look, we're getting this issue of leachate, which over the years is rain penetrating through the bagasse, breaking down the bagasse, and in the end it leaves a sort of a black liquor which is damaging to the environment, and it seeps through. Obviously, this was something that was of great concern to us, as well as to NEMA, and as well as as our neighbors around the factory. So as management, again, we took serious responsibility in this and tried to look for solutions which were even beyond what were directives from NEMA.
Bagasse is the main waste from the sugar and alcohol industry. It causes environment pollution if it is dumped and neglected before treatment. Ordinarily, it has no significant value to those industries since it is regarded as industrial waste. With few studies on bagasse treatment in Kenya, it is a remarkable journey to see West Kenya make steps to create something valuable by avoiding negative effects on the environment. Sugar processors in Western Kenya obtain water for industrial and domestic purposes from rivers around. Effluents from sugar milling activities are usually treated through a system of 6 ponds before being discharged into the river.
Good enough, the company took all these improvement notices positively, and therefore they have been innovative enough to put in place mechanisms of treating these waste to acceptable standards.
Without proper treatment, there is a likelihood that the rivers get polluted, so it is important to watch so that you do not exceed the permissible limits as set by NEMA and the World Health Organization (WHO).